Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. I have with me tonight one part of the Exotic Youth, the former XIW middleweight champion, the $1 Million Mullet, Zach Mosley. I like to call him the name he hates, Tiger King. How's it going tonight, Zach?
You guys love that in Florida, the whole Tiger King bit, huh?
Hey, I caught on when I my first show there. Everybody's chatting that, so I was like, I'll do that.
Yeah, I try to refuse to wrestle until y'all stop, but y'all just keep going again. So there's no use.
But then it got nice to pick on Adrian Whisper, so you're off the hook.
Oh yeah, anytime you mess with him, I'm all about it.
All right, there you go. So I'm going to start with a question, and I want to thank you to take the time out. I know you've been getting over some injuries and stuff like that, and been not feeling the greatest. I know it's been a minute since we planned this, but I appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come and join Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast and answer some questions.
You having me, man.
No problem, man. So before we get started on the wrestling side of things, I mean, I gotta believe that you guys in the indies and even even like the WWE, AEW, have some kind of backup plan, like college and some kind of degree to get you going, just in case something serious happens. Is that true for you as well?
Yeah, actually, I got a bachelor's degree in accounting and I got a master's in business as well.
Okay.
So that's actually the first time anybody's ever asked me that question in regards to a wrestling podcast. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I actually worked in accounting when I was training at Robert Gibson's. I worked at an accounting firm in Atlanta for a bit.
Okay.
But it just wasn't going to work out doing that and doing wrestling as often as I wanted to. You know, it's too many hours.
Right. Now, if the wrestling business was the due to injuries or whatever, could you fall back on that and be successful?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could do a lot of stuff with the master's in business as well. So
awesome, man.
I mean, really, just like the knowledge that I got through doing it, it really teaches you how to be like an entrepreneur, you know, how to run a business and stuff. So I use that stuff with my wrestling as well.
Nice.
Just pretty much a merchandising business.
There you go. Yeah, true. When did you decide you wanted to go to be a pro wrestler? What happened? What was going on in your life? You said, "Oh, this is what I got to do."
Well, I always kind of had that plan. I actually started training a little bit when I was 18 at WWE 4 in Atlanta under Mr. Hughes. But I was only there for like a few months, and then I went to college, and there was nowhere really to train around that area. So I didn't really think about it a whole lot. And then I heard that Robert Gibson had opened up a school like a week before I graduated. And so a week after I graduated college from Georgia Southern, I was in Robert Gibson's wrestling school going at it again. So
okay.
At one point, like I was just sitting there at the fraternity house and New Japan popped up on like the Access TV because we had the Access, whatever the cable company that carried that was. And I had seen like Kenny Omega and Mike Elgin in a ladder match and it was on New Japan. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I started watching it and they were just beating the hell out of each other. And it got me like fired up about wrestling again because I was like, this physical style is more what I'm into than like, you know, a lot of the, I mean, we do the entertaining type stuff too. I got more into that actually, like, you know, from working in the business, but I was more into like the physical, like Japanese strong style type stuff. So I started watching New Japan while I was in college. I really had watched it a bit before, but not like I did when I started keeping up with it. So
okay. Now I talk about New Japan. I was reading somewhere, and is it true? I know the stuff like WWE and AEW, they're all scripted, all that stuff. Now, I heard New Japan, is that true over New Japan where they're just balls to the wall, just go at it?
I mean, everybody has different like levels of choreography, I guess, if you want to call it, you know, like some guys really go through the whole match and some guys just want to do it on the fly. So, I mean, that really just depends anywhere you go, but with places that do TV, it's a lot more important for them to know exactly what they're going to do because they're trying to fit it into an exact time frame, you know, because you got to go to commercial breaks. You got to come back from the break. So they want to be in a specific type of position, you know what I mean, when it's for TV. Right. But for New Japan, when they're doing these long pay-per-views and it's on New Japan World, I mean, it's their service, so they can pretty much go, you know, as long as they want to, I imagine. So
gotcha. Do you see
I'm not sure. I haven't went over there.
You get to see that Kenny Omega match just from 2 days ago. I guess that's what's
No, I haven't seen it. I was just looking at highlights on Twitter a little bit ago, though. It looked brutal.
that looked brutal. Yeah, it did. I don't know if you can see the comments. Lenore Len says, "Hey Zach, how's it going? It's been a while."
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I haven't seen her in a minute. It's been a while. She was at a XIW show like early in the year, I think.
Awesome. So, who was your trainers in wrestling, and what wrestling school did you go to? Could you share some of your experiences starting out like that?
Yeah, so when I first started, like I said, I was at WWA 4. That was about the time that like Moose started. Apollo was just moving up to WWE, Apollo Crews. And I mean, then like I learned how to take bumps. I learned how to like hit the ropes. I learned how to do outside dives and stuff because the way he trained there, he would like make everybody do all the moves, even if you were like the smallest guy to the super heavyweight. You had to learn how to do each move. And so they had guys who were like never been in the ring before, like trying to dive over the top rope. It was hilarious. But so I didn't really, I just got the basics kind of there. And then when I started with Robert Gibson, he kind of tore down everything that I thought I knew. And it had been a while, so I was probably rusty as well. But Robert was real strict on the basics, with the footwork and the technique and stuff like that. And so I got trained by him. I trained up there for like 3 years, but the wrestling school ended up closing down at some point. Okay. I think it was like 2021 maybe. Okay. And then after that, I trained with Jimmy Wang Yang for a little bit. Okay. But with work and stuff at the time, I wasn't able to get to where he was doing it anymore. But I think Peps is still training over there, and maybe some other people. I don't know. I have no idea what they're doing now. But it wasn't actually like a wrestling school. They were just meeting up.
Nice. Okay. I had one cool incident with, I think, Ricky Morton. My son, I live in Fort Walton Beach next to Destin, and the Destin Harbor Walk. My son called me up and said, "Hey, Dad, there's this guy, man, from the Rock, from Ricky Morton. You know who that is?" I said, "Yeah, I know who that is." My son hands him the phone. And he says, "Hey, how you doing? Your son's pretty cool." And blah 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 blah. And they took a picture of him wearing a WWE Hall of Fame ring and all this stuff. So,
it was Ricky on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I thought that was cool because my son took a picture of him talking on his phone. It was pretty cool. So
yeah, Ricky loves hanging out and meeting the fans and stuff. So
yeah. Who do you say was your greatest influence or impact on your wrestling career and life?
So, like somebody who trained me or somebody who like inspired me, like
inspired you. Yeah, inspired you.
Okay. I don't know. When I was young, I remember like my first memories were like Stone Cold and Shawn Michaels and stuff like that. So really all those guys at like the tail end of the Attitude Era, like 2001, 2002, that's when I started being able to actually remember stuff, I think. Okay. But I always would go to Blockbuster and get the VHS tapes of the old pay-per-views and stuff. And I liked watching the Royal Rumbles with 95 and 96 when Shawn Michaels won. I don't know, just the showmanship of how he was and how he was over the top and everything. Right. I enjoyed that. And then Chris Jericho and his run when he debuted in WWE and was feuding with Triple H and all that. But I mean, I take a lot of stuff from different people in wrestling and from other things in life too, like TV or, I'll do research on just evil villains and any kind of thing and take from that, you know what I mean? So I try to look inside wrestling and outside wrestling as well to bring some stuff that like people haven't really seen. Because, in wrestling, people have pretty much done every gimmick you can think of. They've pretty much done every move you can think of. So it's like, how do you set yourself apart? How do you be different than the next guy and still be memorable? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Man, I just want to tell you, the chants are coming. Tyler Cersei from Panama City goes, "Hey, Tiger King, they're coming, man. They're coming." It's just
that guy's constantly commenting that on everything I post.
So
I can't get away from these Panama City people. I've already left town, and they're still after me.
What an impact you had on us.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. Who's your closest friend in the industry? And you guys, how's that working out? You guys learn from each other?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say Peps and Bryce, obviously, in Exotic Youth. We've traveled all over the country together, and we obviously all learn from each other. Peps actually was my manager for like his first year during training. So I took him on the road with me and kind of taught him, as he was training as well, and let him like get some firsthand experience.
Gotcha.
And then when we met up with Bryce, me and Bryce and Peps all kind of exchanged like different knowledge and stuff because Bryce got trained by some different people like in South Georgia. I'm not exactly sure who, but me and Peps were both trained by Robert Gibson. So towards the end of Robert's school, Bryce would come and meet us up there. And that's when we first started working on like our tag moves and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we teach each other like a lot of stuff about like match structure, where to do what, like, and kind of like some of the funny stuff that happens, like with the CPR spots we do, like one of us will be passed out and one of them will start doing like the chest compressions and, the other guy goes down to do the mouth to mouth or whatever. And people freak out over it, but we never planned to do that. It was just like something on the spot that happened. So I think we kind of just have like a natural chemistry together. And luckily everywhere we go, people pretty much want the group. So we're able to all, work on the whole group, whether it be one of us doing a single or, the one doing a single, two doing a tag, or all three in a 6-man or whatever. We can really be weaved throughout an entire show and help bring it up that way.
Nice. When you say Peps, I'm assuming Pepper Bottom as we know him in
Cornelius Pepper Bottom. In XIW, we really didn't have any association, just for the way things were going there. But yeah, me and Peps have traveled together for like the past 3 years.
Is there any good road stories, or are those things you just don't talk about?
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of good ones, especially from like WrestleMania weekend this year.
All right.
We were supposed to have like a tell-all for a Dallas, Texas WrestleMania tell-all thing that we were going to do, but we didn't know if we could really say some of the people's names who were involved in the stories. But one night we were hanging out with some legends at the bar, and it was me, Bryce, Viva Las Amish, some of those guys. And there was a bunch of like, TV names, a lot of guys that you'd know, famous legends. I'm not going to say any names, but
right.
So everybody was drinking off this one guy's tab who said, "Oh yeah, everybody go drink off this tab. It's cool. I've got y'all, everybody in this area." And then I guess other people started hearing about it too. So everybody was just going up there and saying, "Hey, throw it on this guy's tab somehow." And this was at like the WrestleCon thing. So they were having the Impact Wrestling show down the hall in the ballroom. And so they obviously picked me out because I got purple mullet. Obviously they could see me on the security cameras. So they pull me aside and they're like, "Hey, we can't find anybody who's supposed to pay for this tab. So you're going to have to get everybody here. You're going to have to pay for it." And I'm like, "What?" Like I had like one drink off the tab and went to the wrestling show. And it's like, "Well, we knew that you were with these guys and whatever." And so I'm calling this guy who's supposedly going to pay for this tab, right? I'm trying to figure out any way to get in touch with this guy because I just met him like, a couple hours ago. I'm like, "Dude, this had nothing to do with me. I just showed up." And so they've got me like in the back of this hotel. And then finally they bring me to the lobby. So I'm like, "Well, let's go out there and see if we can find him." And then about this time, Bryce and Peps walk over. And they're like, "Zach, what's going on?" And the security from the hotel is following us like 20 feet. And so they just walked right into it. So they were caught too. So now we're all three there stuck. Like, "Y'all got to pay this tab or there ain't no way anybody's going home." The police came out there and was waiting on us. Well, finally, we called the legends that we were there with and like, "Hey, like, we need to get this guy. Do y'all know him?" Like, he's apparently was some lawyer that nobody could find. Well, somebody ended up coming and paying the tab who was that guy's friend or whatever, and they found him later on. But that shit was just awful. It was awful at the time, but hilarious after the fact. That whole trip, because I told Bryce and Peps, I was like, anytime I go to an airport, I get selected for the search. So I missed the flight on the way to Dallas because they were searching me and all this. They lost my luggage, all kind of stuff. Wow. And then I was telling them, yeah, like I always get searched. And they're like, "Dude, there's no way." So we're coming back from Dallas. In the Dallas airport, they stopped me and searched me too. They're like, "Do you want to do this here or do you want to take to the private room?" I'm like, "Go ahead. I'll spread them." And I'm like, I already know the policy. And they were like, "Damn." So when you got a purple mullet, everybody always thinks you're up to something.
There you go. Man, you got a lot of people saying, go to Japan. So that might be something in your near future if you once you heal up.
Yeah, potentially, man.
That'd be sick, man.
Yeah, I'd love to. Whether it be for Noah or Dragon Gate or New Japan or any of those promotions over there, they got a lot of good ones.
So I got a two-part. Well, I got another. The next question is, what are your favorite types of matches, and what is your favorite match you've been in?
Damn, like of all time, my favorite match I've had my whole career.
Yeah.
Probably this match. It was called a Duck House Brawl match. It was a 3-on-3 match between Exotic Youth and the Ugly Ducklings. We got Match of the Year in Georgia for it last year. If you can find the highlights on Facebook, definitely go check it out.
What's it called again?
It's a Duck House Brawl.
Duck House
It was
Brawl.
an IWE Pro, and it was Exotic Youth versus the Ugly Ducklings.
Duck House Brawl.
So that one was probably my favorite one. It was wild. We fought all over the building. We had glass plates, thumbtacks, trash can. I mean, anything you can think of. It was awesome. But my favorite match types, I mean, really just street fights, because then you can fight all over the building. You can use whatever to your disposal. So I've had a lot of good hardcore like street fights, but I haven't done anything that's like full death match, I guess. You know what I mean?
Right.
But more like the WWF style hardcore match.
Okay. Probably not a fan of a cage match anymore, are you?
Well, I guess, let's see. I've been in a few cage matches. I think that's 1-1 for cage matches. I think I've been in 2 so far.
Okay. That was an intense. I will say this. That was an intense cage match, man. You guys put on a show. You rocked the house. I would have said that was one of the number one matches. I mean, that was a good match for sure.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I was actually injured during that match too, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was rough. I was fighting through it.
I'm going to touch on the injury later on. So, do you have any dream match that you would say has to happen before your career is over?
I don't know. I'm trying to think like singles and tag team. I know that there's definitely some, but I haven't thought about it in so long.
Okay.
A singles match I want to have is against Mike Bailey. You know, Speedball?
Yeah.
Dude, he's insane. I seen him WrestleMania weekend at that Impact show. He wrestled Alex Shelley, and that match was badass. It was probably the best one we've seen all week. But let's see. What about tag teams? Dude, I'd love to see Exotic Youth versus the Usos. That would be insane.
You wouldn't be able to hang with those guys, do you think?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could be able to hang with us.
Maybe. I mean, you got Pepper Bottom and Tiger King in the ring. I mean, that's just too.
Or maybe make it like 3-on-3, put Roman Reigns in there. I think we can handle it.
All right. That'd be something. It's a dream match, right? Let's call them up. They're Pensacola, right? They live in Pensacola. So that should be all right.
WrestleMania 40.
There you go. Who do you enjoy working in the ring the most with?
Probably my top 2 favorite opponents would be Jordan Kingsley and Nausism. They're 2 guys out of Georgia.
Okay.
But both of them I've had some classics with over and over again. I wrestled them each probably 10 times at this point. But
cool. A lot of people are saying hi, Zach. Christian Watson, she works with me. She comes to XIW events a lot. So hi, guys. Thank you for jumping on.
Christian?
Thank you for jumping on here. Who would be your Mount Rushmore? This is everybody asks you this question probably, both tag team and in singles.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I don't think anybody has asked me that.
Really?
But, I don't think so.
Huh.
For singles, we'll see. Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
The Rock. Austin. And Dusty.
Okay.
And tag team, Rock and Roll Express. Usos. Dudley Boys and Exotic Youth.
There you go. Those are some good ones, man. Some good ones.
Yeah. Exotic Youth's the best tag team of all time, though.
I heard about them. I heard they got a couple crazy guys out there, so I have to check them out when they come to town sometime. So,
no doubt.
Who is that up and coming wrestler that we need to look out for in 2023, other than you?
Look out for the team, the tag team, Top Team. We've been feuding with them throughout this year. They've just kind of started to get a little bit more traction. A couple of them have been all over the place.
Terry, Top Team.
Yeah, they're called Top Team. They got a bunch of members, but the main few, Jay Lucas and Larry Lazard. I'd be looking at those guys.
Okay.
also, let's see. I'm trying to think of a singles guy. I don't know. I'll have to come back to that.
All right.
I have to think about it.
Okay, let me come back to that one. What
Yeah.
kind of advice would you give somebody that is eager to get into the wrestling business?
Find somewhere reputable to train. Don't just go jump in a ring somewhere because somebody will let you. You get hurt because if you go in there and try to just get in the ring and somebody will let you, chances are the rest of the people who were there weren't properly trained either.
Okay.
So do your research, go to a reputable school, and then don't actually go out there and wrestle in front of people until you're ready. Because once you go out there and embarrass yourself and make your first impression, if it's absolutely horrible, it's going to be hard to come back from. So definitely wait till you're ready, and wait till the reputable person who's training you tells you that you're ready. Okay. So that's the best advice I'd say. And then like once you're actually in it, if you're finally out there traveling, figure out something that makes you different. Like figure out something that you can do. You can make your signature to where it's like people are going to go home at the end of the night and be talking about what you did. Not necessarily any of the moves, not necessarily anything about the match, but like I want everybody, whenever I go out there, to be talking about, man, that dude with the mullet, that Tiger King dude, or whatever the fuck whatever you want to call me. Whatever you want to call me, I want to be what they're talking about on the way home.
Gotcha. You are. I can tell you from XIW. I mean, you've seen me with my foster kids. I bring about six of them each time. They love it. And that's what we talk about. We talk about Tiger King, and a chance.
Absolutely.
A chance to fill the flex, man. Tiger King.
Right.
So, even before we get there, is that purple haired mullet guy gonna be there? That's what they say. So I'm like, yep. So, we got a question from the audience here. How long would you say it takes to be ready to get in the ring in front of people?
I mean, that just totally depends. I mean, because it depends how often are you training, how quick a learner are you, how well is your body going to adjust to it? Because when you first start doing it, I mean, it's really going to hurt like a lot. Like your body begins to like, put up a callus to it so that it's not quite as bad once you're used to it. But when you first start, it's rough. So, I mean, I would say if you're really a quick learner, you could do it in a year. If you're training like 3 or 4 days a week, if you're training once a week, I would say probably train for a couple years. I mean, look at it as any other kind of profession. If you're going to go and get an associate's degree, it takes you about 2 years. If you're going to go get a bachelor's degree, it takes you about 4 years. So, if you're not getting it within 2 years and getting ready to be in the ring, you either need to seek different training or you need to find something else to do, like announcing or refereeing or something else that you're better suited for.
Okay.
So,
does the name Hunter James ring a bell?
Yeah, it does. He's a little weasel.
He says Zach Mosley versus Hunter James. How about that? Can make that happen?
I can't make it happen. He can talk to one of these promoters and see if they'll make it happen. But I mean, if the money's right, yeah, I'll wrestle Hunter James. I'll do it. I think we've wrestled in a tag team match before.
There's your answer, Hunter James. He said if you can make it happen. So
yeah, I'm sure it's going to take me a minute to get over this injury, but Hunter James, I'm going to get your ass once I get out.
There you go.
Once they release me from this cage, these doctors have me in.
One more question from the fans, and I'll get back to my questions. What is your toughest match you've been in?
Toughest match. I would say I had a street fight with this guy, Skrilla the Great. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's wrestled on the Gulf Coast a little bit. But me and him had Feud of the Year in Georgia last year, and we had a street fight at this promotion called KLT Promotions. You can probably find it on YouTube. The video quality is not that great because it was someone in the crowd, but they like followed us around the building, so you'll be able to see the whole thing. They missed a couple of the big spots, like you couldn't see how we landed on a few things, but it's out there. It was wild. It looks like chaos. It looks like a riot's happening during the match. So,
gotcha. So I'm gonna go over to one of these other questions. What you were talking about training and getting to the right company and the promotion and the right trainers, etc. What USA region has the best indie promotions and talent where something like that you had to give advice to people to go to?
I mean, I would say honestly, in the Southeast, I think Georgia is the state that has the most reputable promotions that run consistently with the most workers. I think that's simply just because it's a place where a lot of wrestlers live.
Okay.
You know, with it being kind of the wrestling capital of the South, but
Okay.
also in the Northeast, you have so many good promotions and good talent up there. I just don't know exactly who I
Okay.
would say to go train with there. But I mean, in Georgia, you have like the Nightmare Factory. You have AR Fox at WWE4, who is phenomenal. He produces a lot of great talent. Most of the talent that's coming up in Georgia right now, AR Fox is producing.
Okay.
You also have Platinum Championship Wrestling here in Georgia. I mean, there's so many places to train. There's a lot of good places in Tennessee too. You got School of Morton up there. Um,
Okay.
TWE Chattanooga is a good one with Jaden
Okay.
Newman. Um, so
Just
yeah, I
looking.
think the Southeast is great. In Georgia, one thing that makes Georgia really good is we have Georgia Wrestling History, which is like a group of journalists, the shows. They share news articles about wrestling in Georgia and stuff. So they kind of help put your name in print more
Okay.
and kind of get the results out there. So that's one advantage that we have. I don't know that other states really have something like that. I know that y'all have the Gulf Coast Wrestling Insider, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's like as many people involved and as consistent. So
Okay.
that's one thing in Georgia that's really helped.
Awesome. Is there a favorite venue you performed in, or one that you dream about performing in?
Yeah, I mean, number one, the Tokyo Dome. I wanna get on Wrestle Kingdom, and I
Nice.
want to work at the Tokyo Dome. Uh, Also Corkin Hall. Probably my favorite one that I've done though. This place called the Windjammer.
Okay.
It's like a bar and restaurant in Isle of Palm, South Carolina. Last year that they had I guess it was like a bash of the beach kind of thing, but the ring was actually like in the sand, and so like the patrons were sitting around and on the top deck above the ring and everything, and people from like neighboring hotels were watching over. So the crowd was crazy because there were so many people watching who weren't even at the venue. You know what I mean?
Nice. Nice.
People
Yeah.
could see from the high rises, like the next two on either side, probably.
Right.
So
So let's hit up on. We're gonna hit up on your injury and talk about a statement you made about the cage match you were in, and that you got it. You were injured during that, and I know that you're not. You're getting over. You're under doctor's orders when you can go back, et cetera, and all that injury stuff. What do you say to those fans or these people that think wrestling is fake?
um, You know, I think that that's one of those things that was so taboo in like the 80s and the 90s, and even now like people are really disrespected if people say it, but I feel like people don't really say it as much now as they used to. I mean, people realize that it's an interest that people have, and that like it's no different than someone else being into video games or anime or whatever they're interested in, you know what I mean?
Right.
But in terms of like the reality of it, I mean, your body gets abused every time you go out there. I mean, it's just the nature of the beast. Even if you do everything correctly and safely in the right way, you can still get injured. Um, and what happened with me wasn't necessarily just one thing. It was a bunch of abuse over and over and over again that kind of piled up and made it to the point where I just couldn't work through it for the time being. So
Okay.
there's definitely real pain. I mean, I wake up some days where I've got cramps all the way up and down my leg and my hip girdle and stuff, and I can't walk. So and I've only been wrestling 4 years. So imagine some of these legends who've been doing it for 20, 30 years.
Right.
So, the pain is real. The hits are real. The falls are real. You can't fake gravity. I know that's one of the oldest sayings in the book. But if you can't get in there and do it and tell me you get in there and do it, you come off the top ropes, take a superplex, go into that steel cage and tell me it's fake. You can if you want to. But
All right. That's good. That's good, man. If you could change one thing about the world of wrestling, what would it be?
if I could change one thing, this is something I noticed when I watch shows from like the late 90s or the early 2000s. All the fans had signs and nobody had their phones out. You know what I mean? And it's like the crowd was so much more engaged because they were in that moment rather than trying to capture the moment on their phone to like show people later. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, like, if you go back and watch Attitude Era stuff, like when Stone Cold comes out and you hear the glass shatter, everyone goes ape shit and holds up the signs. But nowadays, Stone Cold comes out, everybody's holding up their phone. You know what I mean? And they're looking at the screen on the phone. They're watching it through the screen.
Gotcha.
So
yeah,
I think if we'd keep their devices away during the show and make signs again, but it's just the change of the times. I don't think it's ever going to get back to the way it was with that.
No, you're right. Probably, I agree. That's the nature of today's society. Is we all have those. We want to catch that video. We want to catch that great moment.
Yeah, and I mean it's gotten more and more tame over the years because, like in the '70s, fans used to try to stab the wrestlers on the way to the ring or set seats on fire. Like it's a good thing they're not doing that anymore.
Right.
But I wish that they would still have like that genuine emotion, that genuine like passion about the outcome like they used to.
Right. What would it mean to you if you were listed in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Top 500?
That would be awesome. I don't know what their criteria is. I sent them some kind of thing this year. They had like some kind of application form or whatever.
Okay.
But yeah, I think I honestly thought we had a good chance of getting into the tag team 100 or tag team 50 or whatever it was, but we didn't make it this year. But I mean, it is what it is. It's one guy's opinion who's an editor and has, a few other guys. So it's based on what they watch, There's so much wrestling out there and nobody can really cover all of it. So
right.
It's a matter of you come across their radar and it's a good enough impression from that one thing that they saw to like research you more, I guess.
Right. Gotcha. When you're not wrestling at a show, what does your day consist of, man?
Well, lately it's a lot different than it used to be. Now I'm just kind of like laying around chilling, waiting to kind of hear exactly what I need to do to rehab the injury. Because I had my MRI yesterday, and so I'm going in Monday to find out like what the findings are and kind of figure out what the options are going forward. So lately, not a whole lot, honestly, just laying around, trying to stretch and do little exercises to do whatever I can to get a little bit more comfort. But before that, I mean, I was in the gym every day, going around running errands, talking to people constantly about booking. Because that's one thing people don't realize is like when you're working, like last year, I worked 122 matches. Like, so I'm constantly having to talk to people to schedule that and like put it in my calendar and everything, and deal with merch and deal with my graphic designers and deal with my gear makers and everything else. It's a whole business. Like it's really full time, and that's all I do is wrestling. So
nice. No, I know. I mean, because when I when I started this podcast, my brother and I do this 2 days a week, talking about the AEW, WWE, Raw, SmackDown, and stuff. And I put a lot of time into emailing and texting you guys, and I'm so thankful that you said yes. I mean, because I'm one of those guys that gave you all kinds of crap at those XIW. I mean, I was front row.
Honestly, I had no idea that it was you until I seen you on here.
Okay.
On the podcast. I just hadn't done one in a while. I usually don't do podcasts. People ask me all the time, but I'm just like, usually it's people who are like, ask me to do it, and then I go to their thing and they don't even have an episode yet. So I'm like, I don't know about that, but you asked me, you were very professional about it. So I was like, why not?
You. I mean, yeah, you're a good guy, man. So is there anything that sticks out in your mind about Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton that you'd like to share?
I would just say that like people should really realize that if they are wrestling anywhere again, I don't think they are. I think they finished their retirement tour or whatever. But if they do, definitely go out and see them, because like they are wrestling history, and the fact that they're still going and doing it today is absolutely amazing to me. And I've had a chance to be across the ring from both Ricky and Robert as a team and separately, and I've also teamed with Robert before. So I'm very thankful for that, because not many people can say that they faced WWE Hall of Famers and teamed with WWE Hall of Famers. Right. And that was all within like my first year in the business. So
nice. That's
I couldn't be more thankful that like I was trained by those guys who really stressed the basics and getting the footwork down before trying to do all the crazy stuff, because they never really trained me on like complicated moves. If there was a move that I wanted to do, I would just try it or learn it myself. But it was all about the basics first, because all of that's going to feed into the moves. And not every trainer's like that. So It sucks that nobody going forward will have the opportunity to be trained by Robert, since he's not training anymore. But I'm very thankful that I was in that last group.
Nice. I bet. How important are wrestling seminars in a wrestler's career, and how important are the meet and greets for you guys and stuff like that at for the fans and the wrestlers? How important are those two things?
Um, the meet and greets kind of depend. I mean, I think some shows you get a lot of participation with the meet and greets. There's one show specifically in Georgia, IWE, where people definitely show up and show out and go around to the different merch tables and take pictures in front of the banner and everything else. Um, but some shows, the fans don't really care about it. They just want to get there and see the wrestling and get drunk and leave. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I enjoy it. I mean, that's how you make connections and make fans who actually follow you, is go out there and interact with them, because that gives the fan that personal experience. It's like more than I just watched the guy wrestle. Like, I took a minute and spoke with them, took a picture with them. Like, that's a bigger memory than just sitting there and watching somebody. So it's very important in that aspect. What was the other part of the question?
Seminars. You guys have wrestling seminars.
Well, they're extremely important, but it depends on who's doing it. You know what I mean? Because some of them I've seen can be a money grab, but for the most part, if it's somebody who's reputable, somebody who cares, then definitely go out there. There's a lot of guys who are doing great seminars. But I mean, if it's some guy you've never heard of and he's out there doing a seminar, definitely do your research before you go to it.
Okay.
Because it's not, you're not going to be able to get bookings just based on the fact that, I went to this guy's seminar. Anybody can go to the seminar. It's about like, did you learn anything that you were able to apply afterwards? So I haven't been to any that weren't good, though. I mean, all the ones I've been to were really good.
Right.
And it's also an opportunity to get seen by more promoters and, whoever is more reputable in the business. I mean, because they're going to be there working with you. They're going to see you. So if you make a good impression, you never know whose name they might pass you on to.
All right. I have a question from a fan. Hey, question for Zach. How many titles have you won in total? And if you could choose one favorite belt, which one would that be and why?
I don't know a total number. It's been quite a bit, so I don't know a number, but let's see which one's my favorite one. My favorite one by the looks was the GIPW tag team titles here in Georgia. Out of Warner Robins, they have some pretty sick tag titles. We held those for about a year, Exotic Youth. So, yeah, I think that one for titles is probably somewhere around like 15, 16 maybe.
Okay. In the 90s, there seemed to be more crazy gimmicks, like crazy names given to different wrestlers. What is your opinion on the importance of gimmicks in wrestling? Example, Duke the Dumpster Drozy, Tugboat, Doink the Clown. Are gimmicks necessary?
I mean, for most people, I think if you want to actually get over and get booked consistently, a gimmick is one way that you can set yourself apart from other people, especially if you're not like the most technical guy in the world, But Jimmy Wang Yang once asked, what's important in wrestling? And we were all like stunned. Like, I don't know. Is it that? Is it this? Is it that? He's everything. So, if you have a gimmick and you're a good wrestler and you have good crowd interaction and you can talk and cut a promo and you actually care and will push the product. I mean, I think those are the most important things. What was the question? I'm sorry. I got off track.
What is the importance of gimmicks?
Gimmicks. Okay, so yeah, with like the silly names and stuff.
Yeah.
So how Cornelius Pepperbottom came about was I was like, hey, you're going to be my manager. What's the most ridiculous name you can think of? And he said Cornelius Pepperbottom. And I said, that's it. And so that's how it happened. And it works great for him because people just love the name. Like anybody hears that, you remember that name. Yeah, it's memorable. But I mean, if your name's Doink the Clown and you ride out there on a tricycle, I mean, you're obviously limited with that gimmick. But for Pepperbottom, like it works because he's like a Weasley type character. He's sneaky, that kind of thing. So the goofiness of it works for him.
Yep, absolutely. Can you tell us any of your experiences in the studio of NWA doing matches? What was that like?
Yeah, I actually just had one match there, but it was me and a guy I trained with. We did like a squash match with Rock and Roll Express, so they beat us pretty quickly. But it was awesome to be able to see myself like in that ring, NWA, and they were the NWA World Tag Team Champions at the time. So it's pretty cool because that's the same like studio look and feel that my dad watched growing up. So
Right.
for him to be able to see me in that ring and like do all that and to show him that was pretty cool.
Right.
But
I
I've
remember.
dealt with NWA a good bit, so I've been there for a few different seasons of
Okay.
Power and whatnot, and there's just so much talent there, like former WWE Impact people who are there at NWA. I think that it's like it really flies under the radar. I haven't really watched much of the product recently, but they have so much talent. I can't imagine it not being good. So people should go check it out if they haven't.
Gotcha. Now, I love this era. I love this segment of WWE when they had Eric Rowan carrying around this cage with that brown tarp on it, and I didn't know
Yeah.
until here recently that you were part of this. You're part of the Congo line with No Way Jose. What was that like? What was your interaction with Eric Rowan, and what was underneath that damn tarp?
All I got destroyed all over a damn mechanical spider. It was a toy spider. When I seen the reveal on Raw a couple months later, I was so disappointed. I was like, I really got my ass kicked over this. But it was hilarious. We were standing there all lined up, all the extras for WWE, and
Yeah.
they were like, "Who looks mischievous?" And they look up and down the line, and they were like, you," and they were like, "Let's see you dance." So I started dancing, doing my thing, and they were like, "Okay, yeah, he's definitely leading the conga line." And then I went over there and peeked in the thing and got wrecked for it. It was cool though. Everybody was, really nice about it. The funny thing is, like when we were going through rehearsals, Eric Rowan was like telling me where to be, and like I was like, okay, I'm gonna come over here and do this, and like I bumped on the floor whenever we went over when we went over it in rehearsals, and like Ricochet and Randy Orton are looking over at me like, "What the hell, kid? You're gonna kill yourself." Because I guess I wasn't supposed to take the bump, like we were just walking through, but I was like, overzealous. I was like, I got to do my thing,
Yeah.
and that was hilarious. But it ended up coming full circle because I ended up having a match with No Way Jose. It's actually on Impact Plus, where I got my revenge for him leading me into the dark on that.
Gotcha.
You have to check that out. I can send you a link to it.
Send me the link. Yeah, I'd love to do that. Love to hear it. I have another question. This is good. I would love to see Zach in AEW because I would love to see him in a dream triple threat match. Zach versus John Moxley versus Kenny Omega.
Hey, Tony Khan, you heard it. Somebody send this to Tony. I think that's money.
That is money. What is it like being backstage at WWE Arena compared to the XIW and other indie promotions?
Well, for one, I mean, you're in a big arena, so you can't just like go in and out as easily because you got to go through like the security at the arena, and you can't be in certain places and whatnot. I mean, with most indie shows, it's pretty lax. Like you can kind of go around as long as you're not out in front of the fans and whatnot. But WWE, I mean, it's just a way bigger thing. Like even just standing out there where they were building the WWE set inside of the arenas and watching how many people they have there to set it up and how much equipment they have and the amount of boxes that they have to carry on those trucks. I mean, it's just crazy how big a production it is and how much money it costs to move that stuff. And it's a logistical nightmare. Like, I don't understand how they, have such a good chain of command to make that happen. But yeah, I mean, backstage at WWE, it's pretty cool too. I mean, everybody's pretty chill. If you're an extra, you eat in the catering room, same as anybody else who's there. So you kind of get to meet people. But, as an extra, you don't want to go disturb anybody. You don't want to go and just start shaking hands and introducing yourself to people who are trying to work. You know what I mean? So you kind of just trying to stay background until you're spoken to, for the most part.
Now,
It's kind of like a more nervous, kind of situation because you never know what can happen, and you might come in contact with Vince McMahon or somebody. You don't want to be doing the wrong thing.
Did you ever have any oh shit moments backstage? Like,
no, I behaved myself. I behaved myself when I was there.
All right, good. Have you ever? So you have not had any New Japan Wrestling experiences yet, but that's something you'd like to do, correct?
Yeah. Going to Japan is probably my number one. That's the number one place I'd like to go. New Japan will be great, but I'm down to go to really any of them. They have a lot of bigger promotions out there in Japan. I just love the way that their wrestling culture is out there.
Right. I have three last categories, but I'm going to skip to what I call my kids' questions.
Okay.
My kids would like to know favorite fast food.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Favorite music.
Metal.
Favorite video games.
Man, I haven't played video games in so long, but either WWE games or Guitar Hero was what I played when I was younger.
Guitar Hero. My boy, Classic Native, he's listening onto this, and I have stories of Guitar Hero happening in my house when mom and dad were gone.
Dude, I thought I was the front man. I'd set up the microphone on the stand, and I'd set it up for 2 controllers, and I'd play the Guitar Hero song and be singing to the mic too. Whenever they came out with the World Tour one, I'd be trying to do the drums. I'd be trying to do all of it at once. I love that game.
My boys loved it.
If they still have that for the system, but I don't think they do they?
I don't know. Classic, do they still have that for the systems? Favorite dinner other than fast food?
Ooh, I don't know if you guys have it out there, but I love Maggiano's.
Maggiano's?
Yeah, Maggiano's. It's like an Italian chain, but they have this dish called sausage and gnocchi, and their gnocchi's made out of like ricotta cheese.
Nice.
Absolutely delightful. If you ever get a chance, it's just chef's kiss.
Nice. One last question from a fan. His name is Owan Kadam. I probably butchered that. Sorry.
Owan Kadam.
How is Zach getting on with his recovery from the injury, and does he know when he will be able to be back in the ring and wrestling again? Is there a time frame? How you doing, man, on that?
Honestly, today has been the best day since it all started getting bad. I've been able to move around a lot better today, a lot less pain today.
Okay.
I'm hoping it continues to get better, but who knows? Monday, I should get the results from an MRI. So then I'll know kind of exactly what's going on, or if we have to do more tests or whatnot. But I'm hoping that I can kind of get a time frame once I figure out my options on Monday.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure right now. I mean, I like to hope that it's not going to be longer than like a month or so. But if they tell me it's got to be longer, I've got to listen because I'd rather take the time now to get it right than have it reoccur again when I'm on another hot streak. So
right.
We got to take whatever amount of time is necessary, but I'm still going to be involved in wrestling in other ways. I'm helping booking and producing promos and managing Peps and Bryce for the time being. So I'll be involved a lot of places still.
Nice. So let's talk about XIW, the middleweight heavyweight champion, middleweight championship match against Malik Avalon, steel cage. That was an intense match, my guy, and you guys put on a banger of a show. What's your thoughts on that?
I really loved the match. It was a hard-fought battle, Malik. Every time we've stepped in the ring together, I think we've had great chemistry. Even since the first time, I just met him at XIW earlier this year, but he's been a pain in my ass all year. And, I guess I can just say that he only got me because I was injured. That never would have happened otherwise. Plus, they want to make the rules as it's going on and say that I can't climb out of the ring. What kind of crap is that? Nobody ever said that before the match. Nobody said that any other time I tried to climb up the cage until they saw that I had enough room to make it. So, Adrian Whisper really screwed me on that, to be honest with you. But as much as I hate Malik, I do have a little bit of respect for him, I must admit.
Thoughts on leaving the XIW promotion? Are you gone or will you be back?
The contract for the match says I'm gone. So as far as I know, I'm gone. But I will be speaking to my legal team and seeing if what they did would even pass through in a court of law. I've got one of the best legal teams in the country. So you may or may not see me back at XIW if I even choose to come back, because the people of Panama City are absolute bullies. And I'm sick and tired of hearing that Tiger King. I have dreams in the middle of the night that I'm falling off of a tiger in the middle of the Saharan desert. Okay? You people give me nightmares.
Tiger King. Tiger King. Tiger King.
All right.
Like that, right?
I'm good for now. Don't set me off. You know my triggers.
XIW has a promotion.
What about them? Like, how are they?
Yeah. Was your experience good with them? I mean, other than that, you're a little bit upset about they're changing the rules like they do.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't say enough good things about the management there and how they treat the workers. Wrestling is one of those businesses like many others where there's a lot of shady folks involved a lot of times. But I've got to say that every time they've said something, they've stuck by what they've said. They treated me well. No complaints on that aspect other than getting screwed over time and time again. Malik Avalon honestly should have never even had a chance. I beat him too many damn times this year. I mean, you've seen it.
Yeah. Got John Saxon over here says, hey, Zach, how's the back, kid?
The thing about it is most of the pain really wasn't in my back. It's in my ass and my leg. It hurts a little bit in the back, but they say that the back's what's causing it because of the pinched sciatic nerve, but they just don't know where it's pinched. So it kind of sucks, though, because I can't really lay flat on my back. So laying down hurts a lot. Sitting is probably more comfortable than laying. Okay. Standing for longer than like 5 minutes sucks. So it's not great, but I'm hoping it gets better soon. I'm hoping these doctors can tell me it's a pain in the ass when you have to go to 5 doctors to get an answer, because I tried chiropractic, I tried deep tissue massage. I ended up having to go to immediate care and then an ER, and then finally got referred to an orthopedic. So I'm hoping that they can tell me. I'm hoping that they say physical therapy is what it's going to take. I'm really trying to avoid surgery at all costs because, you could be very limited after that.
Right on. So now that you're done with the XIW promotion and all that stuff, whether it was not your fault or the rules changed or whatever,
you've seen what happened.
Honestly, I seen, yeah. And I don't know, did you stay around to the end of the show?
Yeah, I was there.
Adrian got what was coming to him, in my opinion. He got the beat down he deserved.
Yeah, but I didn't get to do it. So
you didn't get to do it. Your boy Pepper Bottom won the match of the night. He got the crowd. He got the extra money.
I was so proud of seeing him up there with Fonz, man. That was awesome. That was awesome to see.
Yep, that was good.
Bill Alfonso was cool as hell, by the way. It was really cool to meet him.
I met him. I had a great opportunity to talk to him a little bit, and great guy. But in the end of the night, Adrian Whisper got what he deserved.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if they took one. I don't know if they.
Out of his head.
I mean, he got a boot to his face or boot to his head or something like that. That was pretty intense. But he did you wrong. I will say that.
That's the problem.
I will say that. I thought you had it. You were climbing up that. Any match that I've seen of a cage match, if you could go over the top of the cage, you could win or out the door.
Exactly.
And
so you can be an expert witness whenever this goes to court.
Absolutely. So now we're done with XIW. Talk about your tag team, the Exotic Youth, Pepper Bottom and Tiger King. What a great combination, man.
Yeah, it's me, Pepper Bottom, and the frat daddy Bryce Cannon. We're currently up for the second year in a row, Faction of the Year in Georgia. Also, we're up for Best Match and Best Feud as well. And Bryce is up for Georgia Male Performer of the Year. So if you're a Georgia worker, go ahead and get over there and vote on Georgia wrestling history. But tomorrow night, you can catch us in Canton, Georgia at Southern Honor Wrestling as we take on Top Team. And I'll be there. Will I be involved? You have to be there to find out. But I'll be there. That
was one of my questions, man. I seen that on Facebook. What talk to us about that tomorrow night? What's that mean to you guys? What's that?
Top Team is the team we're actually up for Feud of the Year from this year, and we fought all over the country. We've had matches in Georgia and all the way as far as North Carolina. They've been a big pain in our ass throughout the last year. They recently beat us at District Nightclub in a match I was supposed to be in, but had to cancel because of my hurt back. And I couldn't be there to support them at ringside. So we're going to see what's going to happen. Tomorrow night, I think things are going to end a little bit differently because I'm about damn sick and tired of Top Team. So I know there's like 10 of y'all fanboying over each other to try to boost your engagement on social media. So go ahead and send this to each other. Just get ready for an ass whooping tomorrow night in Canton, Georgia. You seen what happened to Cyrus the Destroyer? He's 3 times the size of y'all. Just imagine what's going to happen to y'all.
So are you known as the $1 Million Mullet? Are you known as Zach Mosley? What are you known as in other promotions?
I mean, people know me as a lot of things. Y'all are the worst about the Tiger King crap. Y'all, and there's one other town, Augusta, Georgia. They're pretty bad about the Tiger King thing. But yeah, I've been called the $1 Million Mullet. I've been called the Mulleted Maniac. I've been called many things. I've been called great though. That's probably the best one.
There you go. You are. I mean, you do got talent, man. I'll say that. I give you all kinds of shit as a fan, but I am impressed with your ring work. So, one more question from Owan Kadam. If I said that again wrong. If Zach could go up against any former TNA Impact wrestler or Impact Wrestling wrestler, who would it be and why?
I guess AJ Styles was in Impact, but I'm going to say Eric Young. I was actually scheduled to wrestle Eric Young last year, and Eric Young tore his ACL or something. He had an injury, and I read like the following week, it was some article in one of the wrestling magazines that said it was the first match he ever had to cancel due to injury. But it was supposed to be me and Eric Young, title versus title, for Lariato Pro and KLT. I ended up wrestling Zicky Dice, which was a great match in itself, but I was really excited about that Eric Young match. It never happened. So if anybody
you think it was a Freddie? Is that why he got injured?
I mean, probably. I never seen any medical reports. I mean, he's like Trump hiding tax returns or something. I don't know.
Probably.
I didn't see it.
Well, Mr. Mosley, we've been going for almost an hour. I want you to have the floor to close the show. Anything you want to say to us fans of the $1 Million Mullet, Tiger King, Zach Mosley? Anything you want to say to us? Anything you want to say to your group you're seeing tomorrow night? Close the show your way.
All right, so I'll go ahead and plug a couple things. So tomorrow night, Canton, Georgia, Southern Honor Wrestling. And then next Saturday in Augusta on January 14th, we'll be at IWE. Other than that, go on YouTube, look up Exotic Youth. Go on IWTV, look up Exotic Youth or Zach Mosley. On Instagram, Zach Mosley Official. Add me on Facebook. Share this video with all your friends so you can get it to as many people as possible. We need to get the word out. Big things are happening here. I mean, these are some of the biggest matches in the history of wrestling's history. So you don't want to miss it. I mean, folks, this is going to be absolutely colossal. It's going to be an extravaganza tomorrow night in Canton, Georgia. You do not want to miss this. I'm telling you right now, if you're not in Georgia, you're not in Atlanta, you need to buy a plane ticket. I don't give a damn where you are. You need to drop your plans, be there tomorrow night, Southern Honor Wrestling, Canton, Georgia, 8 o'clock.
And the crowds will chant, Tiger King, Tiger King, Tiger King, as we do in Panama City. Good luck tomorrow night, my guy. Love talking.
Thanks for having me, man.
I appreciate you. I give you crap. I thank you for taking the crap. I hope you get better soon. Hope you get good news on Monday. Pepper bottom and boy, get that win tomorrow. Make your impact on that match. Do what you need to do. I really appreciate you. Thanks for joining Huge Pop Wrestling Podcast. Send me that link that we talked about earlier of that one match. I can't remember what it was. I'm expecting you to have a good memory.
Me and No Way Jose. I got you.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thanks, man. Have a good night.
See you later.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night, fans.